Everyday activities, walking to the mailbox, going up the stairs, talking on the phone take more effort than they used to. You're short of breath more often. Flare-ups are happening more frequently. And slowly, life starts to feel smaller. Is this you? If your COPD symptoms are getting worse, there may be options that can help you breathe easier and get back to doing more of what matters to you. That could mean walking further, spending more time with family and friends, feeling more confident leaving the house, and getting back to the life you want to live. If your COPD is changing, it's time to have a conversation with your doctor. Visit the COPD Foundation website at isthisyoucopd.org to learn the signs of severe and worsening COPD and the right questions to ask next. Take action today. Breathe better tomorrow.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee. A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Bringing you his authentic perspectives on important topics.
They live in suburbs together. They live in the city together. They hang out together, all in the same family. We're the only idiots that fight because we want our voice to only be on one side. Like, does that even make any sense? And when the side loses, you lose everything. They, on the other hand, have a voice no matter what because somebody that looks like them is always in control.
Frank, candid, and straight to the point.
Well, it's just a skewed system.
Of course it is.
It's a lot of judgment.
But answer my question, though. Should we let people go? Should we let people go? Like, let's just forget about bail altogether. And if your neighbor commits a homicide and kills people, if you kill people and they next to you and you just let them come back and live right next to you, they can live upstairs from you. Let them come in your house.
Frank, candid, and straight to the point. This is the best radio show in the state of Wisconsin. Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app.
Now, he's the mayor of the city of Milwaukee. He's a young man. Give him a chance. I only complain about things that I care about. What I want you to do is pretend like I'm in St. Louis. And all I'm asking the mayor and the Common Council president and the Common Council, show me.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Dr. Ken Harris.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris, 833-212-1017 is the number. It is going to be a learning day today. It is going to be a semi-pop-off Friday because it's the first Friday of the month, and I want to dive into some intellectual things and talk about some things that I think the black community in Milwaukee should start to consider, because I talked about it the other day, and I circled around, and I thought today I'm gonna just dive in. A couple things to let you know before we get started. Congratulations to Alan, who's the Gruber 5K winner. He won $5,000 this morning. So,
I think his wife, though, is going to be more of the winner of the money, because she called in the next segment and was like, oh, that was my husband. And she was more excited than him. So I think she's just going to end up with that money.
Gangster the money, huh? In other words, she's a firm believer of what's yours is mine, what's mine is mine.
Yeah, that's what marriage is, right?
No, but okay. Wow, you're going into it all the wrong way and you ain't even married. Lord have mercy. So, want to say first. Second, the book. What was the weekend what was the date?
May 21st.
May 21st, we're going to do The Spook Who Sat by the Door. So we're going to be talking about that book and, looking at it and analyzing it. I do need you all to, call in and discuss it and what you thought about it, and don't just text. I know some of y'all work hard. Some of y'all work for a living, like Kwanda. She be working, and some of y'all be working. I ain't seen not really a city girl in a while either. So, y'all be working. Y'all's working women. So, we got to make sure we cover that. So you got 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to order the book and get it and look at it and digest it. I'm lazy. I read it. I saw the movie, and then I got the audiobook. And so the cool thing is the audiobook is only 6 hours. So I listened to the audiobook. Listen to everything in the audiobook, okay? Go. It was like $11 on Audible. So just go on and do that, right? I think that's important. I think if you look at it, our discussion is going to be around the topic that I have today. I think black people need to think critically, and I talked about that the other day. And if we're going to have an honest conversation about the black community in Milwaukee, then we need to start right there, okay? Not with blame, not with excuses or education system and all that, not pointing fingers, politician or history and slavery, even though all that matters. We start with what we control. We start with what we control, and what we really control is how we think. And I'm going to go through what critical thinking really is. I'm going to give a definition I believe is accurate. I'm going to talk about fallacies that we have as it relates to how we think, how we argue, how we call Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken or Sherwin Hughes or Tori Lowe or The Morning Show or Kyle, and figure out how we do what we do so we can have a more fruitful conversation. If you don't think critically, somebody else is going to think for you. And when somebody else is thinking for you, they're deciding everything for you. What you believe, how you vote, what you fear, what you support, what you ignore. We all know, as it relates to segregation, not based on where we choose to live, but where we can live, Milwaukee is one of the most segregated cities in America, hands down. We know that. We talk about it all the time. We talk about disparities in education and income and housing and incarceration and on and on and on. But here's a question we don't ask enough. Are we thinking deeply about why? Same thing I talked about yesterday. Why those conditions persist? Why does crime continue? Why does reckless driving continue? Why do people keep getting hit by cars? Continue. Why do people keep getting shot? Continue. And what role we play in maintaining it versus changing it. All critical thinking is, all it means is asking better questions. Not just what happened, but why did it happen? Same thing I said yesterday. Who benefits from this? What information am I missing? And most importantly, are you reacting emotionally? Sounds familiar? Because emotion without analysis is how people get manipulated. Viral videos, somebody gets mistreated, somebody says something offensive, like they said to Kyle at McKinley Marina. Somebody posts something outrageous, somebody's anti-Semitic, and then immediately people jump in, oh my God, and they share it, and they look at all this, and they react, and all this, and they want to burn down and protest and do all sorts of things. Critical thinking will ask, what's the real context? What's the full context? What's the whole story? Is this an isolated incident or a pattern? And what response will actually move this forward? Not just make us feel better right now. Now, reacting is powerful. Hear what I say. Reacting feels powerful, but thinking is what creates power. And right now, too many of our conversations are driven by reaction and not reflection. We don't verify anything we hear, we just amplify it. Did you hear? I heard. We don't analyze, we personalize. I can't believe they said that to me. They can't believe they said that to her, to him. We don't build, we just argue. But that's not strength. Critical thinking also means challenging your own beliefs. That is why I am a contrarian. I'm a card-carrying, badge-wearing contrarian. Why? Because it's easy to question them, and it's hard to question us. That's why I seem to be so hard on black people. But you know the harder part? It's harder to question myself. But if you can't examine your own assumptions, your own biases, your own habits, then you're really not thinking critically. You're just defending a position. And that's what we always do. Growth doesn't happen in defense mode. I've said that before, too. Growth happens when you're willing to say, you know what? Let me think about that. I might be wrong. I need more information. I can't make a decision. I need to rethink this. That's not weakness. That's what separates black communities that move forward and black communities that stay stuck. No, I'm not going to forget young folks. If we don't teach them how to think, somebody else is going to teach them what to think. That's what we're having now. Social media is not neutral. Algorithms aren't neutral. AI isn't neutral. Education, at times, is not neutral. What is today? Today is May Day. Anybody know what May Day is? It's celebrated in other socialist countries where you go and you march for socialism and you march anti-capitalism and anti-this, and you want to tear down big business and you want to tax billionaires and you want to take all their money because it's unfair, even though they earned it. All that other stuff. You think it's just happenstance that Milwaukee had a quote-unquote professional development day on May 1st and there was no school for the kids? You think that places like Chicago and Madison literally took the day off and canceled school? Well, teachers aren't coming because, it's May Day. What do? Celebrate socialism? So if our youth are not being trained to question, to analyze, to compare sources, to understand cause and effect, they're being programmed. And programmed people don't build. They operate inside a life they have that's built by somebody else. That's why critical thinking is not just an academic skill, it's a cultural necessity. It affects how you spend your money, who you trust, how you raise your kids, how you engage with the police, politics, business, opportunity, everything. Now, I'm not saying critical thinking solves everything overnight. It doesn't. But what I'm saying is without it, nothing gets solved at all. No task force you're putting together to look at McGovern Park and you didn't want to spend $2 million and you believe in the environment nonsense. No. If we keep making emotional decisions, uninformed decisions, reactionary decisions, we will keep getting predictable outcomes. And predictable outcomes is exactly what keeps cycling in place. Like, I don't know, crime in Milwaukee, poor education system in Milwaukee, 90% of students can't identify the odd numbers in a group of numbers. If you gave kids 200, 201, 202, and 203, they couldn't tell you which numbers are odd, which ones are even. So what does this process look like in practice? It means you're going to have to slow down before you respond. That means keep your emotions in check. That means reading more than headlines. So when you look at social media, read what's in it, and you probably will disagree or agree with it, but at least you'll understand it. It means coming to 1017 The Truth and listening to perspectives you do not agree with here. And we don't want you to accept them. We just want you to understand them. It's like teaching your children how to ask why instead of you telling them what. And we often talk about empowerment. We need empowerment in the black community, economic empowerment, political empowerment, social empowerment. But none of that is sustainable without intellectual empowerment. And intellectual empowerment, school, starts with critical thinking. And critical thinking, you stop letting every story that comes across your social media control you and move you and make you emotional. If we want different results in the black community of Milwaukee, we don't just need more resources. We need sharper minds. Hear that, MPS? Hear that, public and private schools? We need sharper minds because a black community that thinks critically cannot be easily controlled, divided, or misled. That's one of the reasons why your school system is bad. That's one of the reasons why your criminal justice system is so robust. How do I rephrase that? In the words of Wisconsin's most requested advocate, Tory Lowe, a critical thinker is powerful.
And that is Dr. Ken's Truth on the new 101.7 The Truth. Coming with straight truth.
We can do anything when it comes to being organized, when it comes to making sure that we're active, when it comes to making sure that we're holding people accountable and making sure that we get something out of the deal. Y'all don't know how to make deals. Y'all mad at Donald J. Trump because he's trying to make deals or trying to say that he's the master of the art of the deal. Well, okay, what deals is you trying to make?
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
At Milwaukee College Prep, we don't leave success to chance. We're designed for it. With strong support, high expectations, and a team committed to excellence, our educators turn belief into outcomes every day. If you believe every child deserves an excellent education, join Milwaukee College Prep. Apply today. Visit mkeprep.com/jobs.
You're a hard worker. Provide for your family and help out in your community. You've been there for so many others. But when life challenges you, when rising costs, unexpected repairs, medical bills, or simply a rough stretch make it hard to keep up on a limited or low income, you're not alone. Your local Wisconsin energy and emergency assistance providers are here for you, working together to keep you safely in your home and your heat and power on. If you're struggling with high utility bills, facing a disconnect notice, or dealing with a furnace emergency and your limited or low income isn't enough, support is available. Visit www.heat.help or call 1-800-506-5596 to apply for a hand up.
This is Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I think it's a wonderful day, and I won't fight with my wife. It's the first of the month, and I'll be smoking, choking, rolling, buzzing, sipping on 40 ounces again. We got to the front.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. If you got anything you want to say, let me check. I didn't even push the button. Let me check the chat. Oh, my gosh. The world is coming to an end. I didn't click the button to read the YouTube chat. Thank God it's Pop Off Friday. Yes, it is. And I'm popping off about critical thinking. It just drives me crazy that we don't think things through. We get emotional and we, I've done it. I'm not admitting so. I can't believe you do. No, I'm talking about me. This is for me. Yeah. I've done some emotional stuff and reacted emotionally. I'm human. I get it. What's up? Let me see what's up. Let me check the study hall to see who's up in here in full effect. Quanda, what's going on? Good evening, Dr. Ken. Let Pop-Off Friday begin. Hey, what's up, Sincere? If you don't say hello to me like you're supposed to, I'm blocking you from the YouTube chat. I'm telling you that now. I'm tired of it. That's day 2. Lucretia, what's going on? Dr. Ken, you look like you're ready to square up. I am. I got some sweats on, some tennies, got a hoodie, and I'm ready to go. SE, what's going on? Good afternoon. How are you? Congrats to Alan and his wife. You mean his wife. Okay, Lucretia and Quanda, get off the bestie thing. That all. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, my God, they go back. Lucretia and Quanda just get in here and they just say hello, and then they just pretend like ain't nobody else in here. It's terrible. Mal, what's going on? How are you? Everything is good. He said put some info. I'm not Tory, so I'm not going to say powerful the way Tory say powerful. Only Tory can say powerful. Got to get a more bass in your voice if you want to say powerful. Okay. Ha! See, there you go. There you go. You all in, Sincere? Okay. Hey, I wore it on purpose. 833-212-1017 is the number. Quanda said, and you will be blocking us both then. I sure will. Here we go, ready to rumble. That's right, it's Friday. It's Pop-Off Friday. Now, this is one of the things that what is critical thinking? We talk about, you're going to be a critical thinker. I think about all the times I've said that, and I never explain what a critical thinker. A critical thinking is any method you use, any methodology used to guide your belief, your action, where that method is based on obtaining and evaluating information, assertions, arguments consistent with a value orientation emphasizing curiosity, clarity, precision, reason, intellectual humility. Just because you're smart, the smartest one in the room, don't mean you got to always act like it. Integrity, and what I use, scientific rigor. Got it? I'll read it again. Critical thinking is any methodology used to guide belief and action where that methodology is based on obtaining and evaluating information, stuff somebody says, assertions, stuff somebody says, and arguments, stuff somebody says, consistent with a value orientation emphasizing curiosity, asking questions, clarity, listening, precision, being precise about what you're talking about, not just kind of in a ballpark, reasoning, makes sense, intellectual humility, don't lord yourself over people, integrity, and scientific rigor. That is what critical thinking is. In other words, you can use 3 words, thinking things through. Let me look at it from all sides. What's really going on here? And unfortunately, when we become emotional, most of us don't do that. So then you got to ask yourself, somebody calls in, hey, Dr. Ken, I wanted this. So I make arguments every day, and I ask questions. So then how do you evaluate an argument? There are clear steps to evaluating an argument. You want to identify and clarify the argument. What is it that you're saying? What you really saying? And number 2, you want to evaluate the strength of it. Is it good? Is it bad? Does it make sense? All those things. Then you want to use the curiosity, the clarity, the precision, the reason, all that stuff, right? So first you need to identify and clarify the argument. How in God's name do you do that? Well, what's the factual basis of the argument? Is what you're saying factual? Because guess what? If it's not, it kind of kills everything. What are the issues in the conclusion? Like what are you coming to? What are the reasons used to defend the argument? And I think it's like that because, and then you tell me and I go, what? that was, and I got an example in here of that was racist. Okay, but what made it racist? And then people can't tell you. What values are implicit in the argument? Well, everybody should believe this, or everybody should be against that, right? We do it in voting. Everybody should be able, if you're black, you're a Democrat. If you're black, you can't be Republican or conservative. You can't be this, you can't be that. If you're black, you got to be a Christian. If you're Christian, you got to be Baptist if you're black. All that. But you hold on to that yourself. So when you argue with me, and the values you're holding on to might be religious, and somebody else is holding on to money. And so you're arguing with each other, and your values are different. So of course you're arguing. And then, what assumptions does the argument make? Well, a lot of it is both of the people actually know what they're talking about. That they've sat down and they've what? Formed a factual basis. They understand the issues. They've made a conclusion. They're defending their argument, and they're figuring out the words and phrases that are vague or ambiguous and how they can be clear. And that's when you'll say something and the other people start asking you a question. It's not that they're challenging you. They're asking, which is what I do, because many people are vague or ambiguous. You know that was racism. Okay, why? You mean you're going to question why? Huh? Yes, I am. I need you to explain to me why you think what you think. Don't just argue what I'm saying. And we spend an inordinate amount of time. Somebody at Concordia, I was in a meeting, and somebody said, when you talk, say what you're saying. Don't say what you're saying to counter what someone else is saying. I thought about that, and I went, hey, you can hit that Tory word again. Pow! Okay. So when we come back, I want to dive into, this is the dangerous part. How do you evaluate the strength of an argument? How do you immediately hear what somebody says and goes, that's nonsense? And still recognize you might be saying it's nonsense because the values they have are different from yours. It may not be nonsense. It might just be different. But how do you evaluate that? We're going to look at evidentiary support, value support, rational support, and then how do you validate your conclusion? How do you say, this is why I believe what I believe here? And sometimes it's really not appropriate. And so we're going to dive into that. We're really going to look at it. And this is why you'll find out why I ask people certain questions. And if you listen close enough, like Study Hall does, you'll know I always ask the same questions. And so somebody will call and I'll challenge them, or I'll ask a question, and somebody in Study Hall will always, you know he's going to ask that. I don't know why they said that, because they knew, you knew Dr. King was going to ask you that, right? Because what I'm doing is I'm evaluating the strength of your argument. And if it's good, I'll go, that makes sense. I don't necessarily have to agree with you. I think part of the problem is people keep arguing to change your mind instead of just saying what they say. Cool? When we come back, we're going to do that. I got a poll question, simple poll question. Are you a critical thinker, yes or no? Yes or no? And think about this when we come back. What to do when you listen to somebody make a comment? We're going to talk about evaluating when I say something, blah, 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 blah. What do you think? How do you evaluate my argument? Right? It's kind of simple. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. Pop Out Friday. Are you a critical thinker or not? And now with 101.7 The Truth Traffic, here is Debbie Lazaga.
Good afternoon, John. We have delays along southbound 41, pretty much stretching from Good Hope Road all the way down to about Capitol Drive. The northbound side's backed up from about Mayfair Road up past Capitol Drive to Silver Spring. Southbound 43, a heavy ride. We do have a crash at Keefe, but then we got delays basically beyond that all the way down into the Marquette, with more backups once you get off the high-rise bridge down towards the KK River crossing. And on the northbound side, we've got backups coming out of the Marquette all the way up to North Avenue. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, showers ending, partly cloudy with frost, a low of 35 at the lake, 29 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high of 50 at the lake, 58 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 101.7 The Truth.
Pow! Want to save money on energy bills? With free tools from We Energies, you're in control. Manage your energy use with easy tips. Earn rebates on home upgrades. Calculate your energy use. Create savings goals. View and compare bills, and more. With We Energies, the energy info you need is at your fingertips. Save your way at WeEnergies.com/simple savings or download the app. We Energies. Simple steps, real savings.
I'm Sherwin Hughes, and I know the power of Stars and Stripes Honor Flight firsthand. As someone who's been on an honor flight, I can tell you it's a day you'll never forget. Stars and Stripes Honor Flight gives our oldest veterans who served in any location in June of 1975 or earlier a free one-day trip to Washington, D.C. for veterans. Airfare, meals, a coach bus tour, and special flight apparel are all included. It's a day of honor, gratitude, and camaraderie. Veterans who served in the Vietnam or Korean War go to flySSHF.org and ask for an application.
Do you hear that? And that? And that? Those are the sounds of a healthy and vibrant community. And to this United Way volunteer, nothing sounds better. They're the sounds of children being given greater chances to succeed in school. The sounds of neighbors receiving the support needed to overcome challenges, both big and small. They're the sounds of families gaining access to quality health care and nutritious food for their tables. And they're the sounds of members of our community who've benefited from United Way's financial education programs. See, wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. People working together to respond and growing the good for everyone. United is the way. So join us by getting involved or giving back. Learn more at unitedway.org.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
This is Associated Bank Sports Update on 101.7 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Xavier Spencer. Your Milwaukee Brewers put on another show, defeating the Diamondbacks 13-1, with William Contreras contributing 4 of the crew's 14 hits. Brewers pitcher Brandon Woodruff left yesterday's start in the second inning due to a significant drop in velocity.
We've seen it where he came down, his velocity's down early, and then it climbs. We were waiting to see in the second inning if it climbed, but it was down as low as it's ever been. And we think maybe some rest can build back up.
Brewers are in Washington this weekend to face the Nationals. The Milwaukee Bucks finally named Taylor Jenkins their head coach. Jenkins will be introduced at a news conference Wednesday, May 6th at 2 p.m. at the Milwaukee Art Museum, which will be open to the public. The Green Bay Packers picked up edge rusher Lucas Van Ness' 5th-year option at a 1-year fully guaranteed $14.5 million for the 2027 season. The Packers also have their rookie minicamp that will kick off today at Lambeau Field. I'm Xavier Spencer, and this is the True Sports Update on 101.7 The Truth.
This is Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. We were talking about critical thinking, something the black community must have in Milwaukee. We're not getting it. I put in the YouTube chat for Study Hall whether or not you could ask yourself the question, are you a critical thinker? Right now, 88% said yes. Believe it or not, 12% said no. I believe the 12% more than I believe the other folks who know. I'm a critical thinker. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Evaluating the strength of an argument. We said we was going to talk about that. Let me check the lines and see who up in here. What's up, Al? What's going on? Willie, hey. Who else is here? Jasmine, what's good? Jasmine said, absolutely, I'm a critical thinker. Why? Why do you think you're a critical thinker, Jasmine? Put it in the chat. Give me a call. 833-212-1017 is the number. What makes you think you are a critical thinker? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this segment, because we're going to talk about how you evaluate the strength of an argument. How do you do that? One, you need there are four things you need to look at. And I talked about it before. One, you need evidentiary support, right? You need to judge the credibility of the source. Where you get that from? TikTok don't count. If it's on TikTok, who wrote it? Who put it on there? Number two, are the statistics you're using deceptive? Right? They pick a statistic that's bad for black people. I used it in my Dr. Ken's Truth, right? 90% of black kids in Milwaukee in grade school can't identify an odd number in a group of numbers. Right? These same kids can do advanced quantitative analysis, calculus, right? Differentials, right? There's some base math things I can't do anymore. My brain is too complicated. It's a weird thing. If you tell me to multiply 627 times 62, I can't think of that in my brain. I got to write it down. Some people can go, okay, you got 692 base 10, you multiply that, subtract that, and then add 2 because it's 62. So they can add up 460, and if it's 8 times, add 16 to it, and be like, boop, that's it. And I'll be like, huh? What? They got formulas and all that stuff. But it's the same deception in statistics when they talk about the percentages. And I heard, what's her name? Megan used to be on Fox. Talk about it in one of her podcasts, because I listen to liberal, conservative, up, down, everybody. I try to listen as broad a podcast group I can get to get information about different stuff. And she brought up something one day that said the percentage she actually said, the percentages of the group versus the actual numbers. I can't believe people go with actual numbers. I'm paraphrasing. And I said, yeah, because the actual numbers make it look worse. So if you got 50% of black people who are only 14% of the population, and you got 10% of white people and they're 60% of the population, that's a significant actual number of people that might be, I'm just making up a number, that might be on welfare. But I can always make you look bad if I use percentages. And that's part of the problem. That's part of the issue. Deceptive statistics. And then, what significant information is omitted? What are you not telling me? I'm going to be sick tonight. And you're going to be sick because you already got plans to be at, Katrina's house at 8:30 tonight. You know what I mean? Nobody asked the question, so you just kind of withheld it, and, if you don't ask, I don't tell. That's being deceptive. Number two, value support. Do you share the values implicit in the argument? When you start asking people and drill down on Democratic politics, black people might be 50, 60%. Unless that particular thing is part of their personal value, they reject it. But you can't tell them that until you read, this is what the Democratic Party stands for, the Libertarian Party stands for, I don't even know if that's a party. The Republican Party stands for, the Whig Party. Like, right? When you start reading, you go, oh, are those values implicit in your argument? Do you share them? I support, but then you start asking questions about, is the argument based on certain assumptions or inferences? So when you start arguing with people, do you assume certain things about them, or assume they know certain things, or assume they agree with certain things, and then you make your argument? I've had people roll up to me, hey, such and such, I don't like so and so. And I'm sitting there thinking to them, like, okay. I don't like so and so. Man, I can't stand the police. They suck. Every single cop, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Because they assumed, they made certain assumptions. This black guy in a shirt and tie, he couldn't be a cop. Wrong. Or they just infer that your politics are theirs, the fact that you're there. I've gone to Democrat meetings, Republican meetings, independent meetings, socialist meetings, and they assume because you're there, they infer you agree with them. They infer you have their values. They'll start spouting off on stuff, and you'll be like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Number 3 is rational support. Is the rationale for the argument sound? Are you arguing the right thing? Are there any fallacies in your reasoning? And we're going to dive into fallacies in the 5 o'clock hour. Are the argument's assumptions valid? And then finally, is the rationale for the argument even persuasive? Is the argument that you're making really going to change my mind, or are you just arguing to be arguing? That's what people tell me. You just argue to be argued. No. I'm just arguing because I want to persuade you to at least hear and listen to what I'm saying. Disagree? Absolutely. The people get, well, you cut people off. You do this, you do that. Because I have a low tolerance for when you're just doing what? Having statistics that are deceptive. Your values are not implicit. You believe a certain thing, but you won't say it, but you intimate it. You know, when you use words like those people, or you people, or us people, just say it. And then validation of the conclusion. Are your conclusions actually appropriate? Well, they didn't do this and they did that, and my experience been this, therefore I'm doing this. Wait a minute. How you jump from that to that? I don't like banks because that one bank did this and that, and so now I'm what? I don't like banks, credit unions, anybody with money. Okay, you jump from having an issue with a bank in another city to wanting to take all the billionaires' money and give it to the people for free. Huh? Connect the dots. And then when you do try to validate your conclusion, you forget that there might be other reasonable conclusions that are possible. There might be multiple reasons for something happening, and because you only want to see what you see, you don't even look at the fact that there might be another plausible reason for this. There might be a reason, or there might be multiple reasons why. That's why I argue with people about, black people do this in the black community. Well, you can't generalize about black people because we're all different. The ones you see at street takeovers, some of them got parents and cars and college and all that stuff. He's out there acting foolish. Oh, those are all criminals. Not really. Not really. But those are the assumptions we make. Those are some of the things we do. And so when we come back, I wanna look at, if you have any questions, 833-212-1017 is the number. Every time we get to the end of a segment, let me double check the talk and text line, see if anybody got. Al said, Dr. Ken, I'm a moneymaker. I ain't got no time for that all overthinking mess. These people stay broke and frustrated. Wow. Jasmine said, my parents taught me, and I learned in school, evaluate, listen, be open to differences, check facts, develop an answer, accept if you're wrong, not necessarily in this order. Oh, I tell you. Yeah. I mean, you got to do it. Brother Ben said, I'm not attached. Ben said, I'm a critical thinker because I'm not, I don't know what that means, but he said, I'm not, because I'm not attached to making someone think my way. I don't know if that's the only thing that makes you a critical thinker, but that's the kind of connection I was talking about. I'm not a critical thinker because I don't try to change people's minds. I don't know if that makes you a critical thinker. That's an example of one of those assumptions you make or connections you make that, I don't know. But how do I answer that? How do I answer, Brother Ben? Well, when we come back, I'm going to dive into how do you critically think? Like, what do you actually need to do? This is what I do when people call me and say, Dr. Ken, and then they make a statement. I'm going to take you through the 10 things that fly through my brain like that because I've done it so much. You do it in class, you do it when you write, you do it when you talk. So much that I go through these in about 10 or 15 seconds. Now watch this. Quite a few of them are difficult for me. Quite a few of them will be difficult for you. So if you want to even share what your process is when you think through an argument or somebody says something to you before you respond, give me a call. 833-212-1017 is the number. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. It's Pop Off Friday. You got anything you want to pop off about? Anything that's just driving you crazy? Critical thinking is driving me crazy today. We'll be back.
This is 1017 The Truth's Kyle Wallace, and I am Milwaukee. I take great pride in being a 414 boy and representing the city that I love. The great memories I have of going to Northtown Cinema to see movies with family and friends, to going to Capitol Court to see the Black Santa Claus, this city has helped shape me into the man that I am today, and I pledge to utilize my voice as a way to advocate for you in our community. Join the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations where you can speak your truth. We are the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
You're a hard worker. Provide for your family and help out in your community. You've been there for so many others. But when life challenges you, when rising costs, unexpected repairs, medical bills, or simply a rough stretch make it hard to keep up on a limited or low income, you're not alone. Your local Wisconsin energy and emergency assistance providers are here for you, working together to keep you safely in your home and your heat and power on. If you're struggling with high utility bills, facing a disconnect notice, or dealing with a furnace emergency and your limited or low income isn't enough, support is available. Visit www.heat.help or call 1-800-506-5596 to apply for a hand up.
You ever see the sign above the highway? The number of people that have been killed on the road? My wife, my son, and my unborn child were killed by a distracted driver. They were more than just a number.
Your phone isn't worth it. Buckle up, phone down. Brought to you by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. We're a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals, the plates are piled high with flavor, and a lakefront sunrise sets the stage. Here in Milwaukee, every street leads to something worth savoring, a place that welcomes you with open arms and where joy is shared in bites, beats, and cheers. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Happy kids heal faster, and that's why Starlight is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids across the U.S. Learn how at starlight.org.
Seriously injured? Make one call. That's all.
This is Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Treat her like a lady.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. 48 minutes after the hour, 41 degrees. The low tonight is 33. Showers are in the vicinity. Chance of rain is about 24%. And we have already had 0.01 inches of rain. Mr. Lee, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. How are you? So I say Mr. Lee, and you go, damn. Like, really?
That was for the rain.
Okay. What's going on, Mr. Lee? I think he did it for you.
How are we doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Hey, man, I appreciate your call, sir. I passed my first course in this college season that I'm taking thus far, so that's a good thing.
So is it your first degree?
This is my first degree. I haven't passed college for this degree yet, but it will be my first bachelor's degree.
Excellent.
Yes. But I've wanted to chime in. It's been a long time, and I've been hearing you out, and I don't think a lot of people understand that you are a master contrarian. That means you're going to oppose, even if you stand on your opposing argument, you're just invoking discussion, and I don't think a lot of them actually understand that. All right. So, was I right or wrong?
You're correct. You are 100% correct.
All right. Thank you. And I don't want to go into opposing argument with you, but what I do want to say is I am a critical thinker. But what I want to apply to that, and here's why, because for me there's a word missing, and it's the analyze, a critical analytical thinker. When you're analyzing, I value the analyzing part greater than anything else because I can make the comparisons and I can look at these things in comparison and bring about an objective that may make better progress for me, or I just don't have to deal with it at all. But at least I did the analytical part, and then I can, take time to brainstorm in the meantime. Does that make any sense?
That makes perfect sense. I would ask you to also consider this. Analysis is made up of all those things. So
right, that you at the point that you made earlier, right?
Correct.
Right.
And so the analysis is the critical thinking. If you don't analyze, you're not critically thinking. If you're not asking those questions or going, huh? What? Or trying to even understand it, you're not critically thinking. You just go, okay. So somebody just tell you, yeah, the sky's orange. Okay. Like, really? Yeah.
And it's for me, it's all emotions aside. I don't attach my emotions to it at all. So, and I thank you guys. Again, keep up the good work, always listening. I thank God for you guys. I thank, the almighty God for you. You guys have come a long way. I remember when I started to speak on your first year, I remember mentioning that, hey, we need to buy this thing and look at how God works. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you much. I appreciate it, Mr. Lee. 833-212-1017 is the number. So what processes are involved in critical thinking, in the methodology of critical thinking? Ennis in 1993 came up with 10 things. First, assess the credibility of the source. Who's telling you this? Identify conclusions, reasons, and assumptions. Judge the quality of an argument, including the acceptability of its reasons, assumptions, and evidence. Or what you saying? Like, is it not is it good or not, but the quality might be pretty weak. Develop and defend a position on an issue. Ask appropriate clarifying questions. Stuff you don't understand, ask. Plan experiments and judge experimental designs. That means, well, what about this? Well, what if we look at it like this? What if we apply this? What if we apply that? Define terms in a contextually appropriate way. Make sure y'all talking about the same stuff. If you say, quote, that's my boo, what does that mean? Is that your boyfriend? Is that your girlfriend? Is that your lover? Is that your son? Is that your daughter? Yeah, that's my little boo. depending on how you use it, right? Make sure you're using terms and understand the definition of the terms in the same way. I've seen people argue, and I've said it. I've seen people argue and realize they were talking about and using the same words, two completely different definitions. Then you need to remain open-minded. That means that you need to embrace that you just might be wrong. But in order to be a critical thinker, you got to be relatively well-informed. People that say that they don't read the news, I got students that are going into justice and public policy who tell me, oh, I don't read the news, it's too depressing. What? I don't listen. I know younger people in their 40s who I don't watch the news, it's too depressing. I said, so you don't know that you're driving into a neighborhood where there's a standoff and they done reported it all over the news. You don't have those particular notifications on your phone because you what? You don't listen to the news. And you drive right into some drama, get carjacked, or God forbid, something bad happens, and you don't know why because you're not well informed. At least once a day, you need to figure out what news source you have that you trust, or multiple news sources that you can get some information from to see what's exactly going on in your city. Did you know they're about to shut down the Mitchell Exchange down by the freeway for 54 hours this weekend, starting today? And somebody, oh, I only got an hour and a half to my flight, but they go load in an hour, so I got enough time to go park. No, you don't. Why? Because everybody named Mama are on what? They on Howell, and they're on 6th Street. Because the Mitchell interchange, you know, the part that's going northbound where 43 goes west. I'm sorry, 43 goes north and 41 and 894 go west and 43, 94 go north. Yeah, that's closed at the airport. But you won't know that unless you're well informed, unless you read myriad things. And then finally, draw conclusions as warranted, but with caution. Make assumptions, draw a conclusion, okay, so that means this. But recognize, if you're open-minded, you might not be right. You might actually go, I drew the wrong conclusion. Somebody else does something. Critical thinking should help you understand why they did it or ask enough questions so that you can figure out why they did it. Don't just assume, oh, because when you do it, you did it for that reason. Right? If I did it, I'd be jealous. Therefore, when they do it, they're being jealous. Not necessarily true. Not necessarily true. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. When we come back, I'm going to talk about fallacies. This is the part I like. Fallacies. How we talk and how we make stuff up and, argue and it don't be making no sense. Top 5 at 5 and fallacies up next.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week on the pod, Marcus and Chris talk to Wisconsin Herd head coach Beno Udrih. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
Truth Nation, it's your boy Tory Lowe, and I need to let you know the award-winning Tory Lowe Show can now be streamed live on YouTube. How? Every day from 1 to 4. Truth Nation, I am now bringing all the smoke on YouTube every single weekday. Hey, how? I need you to go to YouTube right now and subscribe to 1017 The Truth and check out the award-winning Tory Lowe Show live every afternoon. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube. Now that's powerful.
Hey there, Jane Lynch here. You want to hear something funny? Too bad. You want to hear something uplifting that will inspire you? Good. Because today, I want to talk to you about Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that does seriously good work when it counts. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. When disaster strikes, Direct Relief immediately shows up with medicines, medical supplies, and everything doctors and nurses need to save lives. Let's ship her out! Every day across the United States and around the world, they're making an enormous difference. If someone needs help, Direct Relief helps. No politics, no red tape. Hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, I'm packing insulin for kids with diabetes.
See, every box here is literally a lifeline for someone in critical need. So check them out at directrelief.org and donate if you can. You might just bring a smile to someone's face.
People don't realize that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness.
Because there are often no early symptoms, nearly half of those with glaucoma may not even know they have it until vision loss has occurred.
I was diagnosed with normal tension glaucoma in July of 2020. And what we found out at that point was I had already lost 40% of my sight. And you think it only affects people that are, 75 or older, retired, grandparents, and that's not the reality of it.
I didn't think at all glaucoma was going to affect me because I didn't know of anyone that had glaucoma, no one in my family. When you have glaucoma, you can't get back that sight that you lost. And so early detection and treatment is vitally, vitally important.
Don't miss life's most beautiful moments. Schedule an eye exam today.
National Glaucoma Research, a bright, focused foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Learn how to protect your sight at stopglaucoma.org.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. Bringing you his authentic perspectives on important topics.
They live in suburbs together. They live in the city together. They hang out together, all in the same family. We're the only idiots that fight because we want our voice to only be on one side. Like, does that even make any sense? And when the side loses, you lose everything. They, on the other hand, have a voice no matter what because somebody that looks like them is always in control.
Frank, candid, and straight to the point.
Well, it's just a skewed system.
Of course it is.
It's a lot of judgment.
But answer my question, though. Should we let people go? Should we let people go? Like, let's just forget about bail altogether. And if your neighbor commits a homicide and kills people up, if you kill people and they next to you and you just let them come back and live right next to you, they can live upstairs from you. Let them come in your house.
Frank, candid, and straight to the point. This is the best radio show in the state of Wisconsin. Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app.
Now, he's the mayor of the city of Milwaukee. He's a young man. Give him a chance. I only complain about things that I care about. What I want you to do is pretend like I'm in St. Louis. And all I'm asking the mayor and the Common Council president and the Common Council, show me.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Dr. Ken Harris.
I was just in there talking to Kyle, trying to catch up because, I was harassing him on his show today. If you check the YouTube chat, I was like, hey, what you doing, man? Then he talked back and forth. Then I had to say some stuff that was like out of pocket, so I had to text him. I couldn't say that on there. I wouldn't put that in the YouTube chat. He'd have been like, hey, man, we're going to fight. By the way, it's 5 o'clock here on 1017 The Truth. Thank you for hanging out with me. We're talking about critical thinking in the black community, critical thinking. And in this hour, we're going to talk about some fallacies. We're going to go through 4 different fallacies, but I'm going to key on 2 of them Well, actually, it's 5 fallacies. I'm going to key on 2 of them that I think the black community really needs to jump in and dive into. You know what I'm saying? We also got some Gruber. I want to say again, congratulations to Alan and his wife for the $5,000 one call. That's all. Giveaway winners. They won $5,000 today. No, we're not giving you his last name, so you don't call him up and say you're his long-lost cousin and you want some money. All right. The truth we do in the YouTube chat, you can always go to @101.7 The Truth in the YouTube chat, and it will give you all the information on what you need in order to watch and listen to every single live show. Just hit the notification bell, and then you'll get notified every time we're here. In the YouTube chat, are you a critical thinker? 85% said yes, and 15% said no. And I guess it fluctuates every time I give new information. Sometimes I get new information, people go, yeah, that's me, yes. And then, no. So, and that's to be expected. That's what a good critical thinker does. They question themselves. So we got the Gruber giveaway today. We're going to get another qualifier. I guess I'll be the first qualifier for the new quarter, so make sure you get that. Make sure you hang out. Make sure you get all the things done that you're supposed to do today. It is absolutely great. I think what we're discussing is something that's sorely needed in the black community, something that we have to really take a look at and consider. So in the 5 o'clock hour, fallacies. How y'all be coming up with nonsense. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. How we come up with nonsense. So, all right. 41 degrees. The high today was 44. The low tonight is 33. Just a little nip. Oh, now it's 41 degrees. Did I say 41 before? I don't remember. 41 degrees. The low is 33. 20% chance of rain now as we get into the night. It's cloudy. Yeah, so I guess we'll be okay.
Number 5.
From Fox6Now.com, Wisconsin gas prices. I don't know if you noticed, but I went and unfortunately, I drive a foreign car. And granted, I don't have a car note. I don't have like a lot of, oh my God, I don't drive my car like a lunatic. So I literally just got my brakes. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I just got my brakes fixed after owning the car 9 years. Like I don't ride my brakes. I don't know why people ride their brakes, stop hard, screech away. I don't do any of that. I think I've gotten tires on my car, and when I replaced them, I replaced all 4 tires. I think I've done it twice. I hit 2 potholes and got a flat, but other than that, I replaced all 4 tires twice in 9 years. Because I just don't drive like that. But gas prices are rising at an alarming rate, and the worst might still be on the way. The average price for 1 gallon of gas is over $4 in Wisconsin. That's according to GasBuddy.com. GasBuddy.com. Website that monitors trends in the cost per gallon across the state lists the average price of $4.30 per gallon on yesterday. That's up more than 39 cents from this time last week. GasBuddy reports average prices in Wisconsin for gas have risen more than 50 cents in the last month. I always find that weird because they already bought the gas and paid for it. They're just making money on the market. And so people are coming here to get our gas, and they're pumping more gas in America, and all the ships are leaving, the Middle East and going around Cape Horn, around Africa, and headed across the Middle Passage to America so they can get gas and get oil in Texas. So they're starting to pump more. And usually when you pump more, guess what? The price goes down. Nope. Wisconsin is not the only state seeing spikes in the price. All other Great Lakes states are seeing prices skyrocket. Why is that? Because they got to ship it here. I think they'll do anything to jack up the price. That's just me. Well, the price of oil in the Strait of Hormuz is putting pressure on the prices as well. How? But we don't get our gas from there anyway. But that's the nonsense the markets do. Oh, we got to get your gas. And because we're there. I know it's a little more complicated than that. I get it. To keep tabs on most up-to-date prices in the area, like Milwaukee, county-by-county breakdown, visit gasbuddy.com.
Number 4.
Speaking of dumb stuff, from CBS 58, state leaders unveil their new plan in Milwaukee today to help Wisconsin residents earn more money. It's a one-year campaign led by Wisconsin Living Wage Coalition, and joining the effort were gubernatorial candidates. I'm so saddened by this. Kelda Roys, Francesca Hong, and Mandela Barnes. All three advocated for Wisconsinites to be paid what they deserve. Excuse you? Anyway, Senator Roys said it's not fair to make workers come and beg politicians for a wage that doesn't even get us to a living wage. This is about dignity in your work. This is about putting power back in the hands of the working class people to fight against corporate corruption and greed. Mandela Barnes said, when we have a living wage, we're a safer community. What? When we have a living wage, we have a healthier community. What? To a point, he's true. When we have a living wage, we provide support to those folks who've been denied it for so long. How? This is an argument, and we're going to talk about fallacies this hour, about when people say things and then they don't have anything to back it up. Current minimum wage is $7.25. New legislation able to raise it to $20. Who's supposed to pay for this? Who's going to pay for this? Oh, that'd be great. Here's what's going to happen. It'll go up, but guess what? It's just a new way to make broke people more broke, run small businesses out of business, and raise more revenue for the state through the employee tax. And in the end, who's going to lose? Because for what I could hire 2 to 3 people for a little over $20, now I have to hire 1. Which means if you make $20 an hour, you're going to be working harder than the people that make $7.25 an hour. But this is the nonsense we come up with. They always want to tell you they're going to do it, but nobody can tell you who's going to pay for it. Oh, wait. There's more.
Number 3.
There is somebody that's going to pay for it. Let me show you who's going to pay for it. From JS Online, all but 3 candidates for governor are pledging to dedicate $2.5 million of state taxpayer money in the next budget to help pay for a federal plan to connect Milwaukee and Madison. Haven't we heard this before? With the passenger rail service. Democratic candidate, who else? Mandela Barnes, did not make the same promises as his primary opponents when queried by Journal Sentinel. Instead, pledged to work with unions and stakeholders, idiotic political answer, to explore every funding option to expand transit across Wisconsin without increasing costs for middle-class families. Dumb answer. After the Journal Sentinel published a candidate's answer, Barnes added that he would certainly sign a budget with the rail expansion in it as long as the federal government upholds their commitment of covering 80% of the construction costs. So here's my question. John Brennan, let me go back. John Brennan, Democratic candidate for governor, who also worked as the Department of Administration Secretary under Evers, said he would consider the idea but did not commit to enacting it. The numbers here make sense. Listen to these numbers. This is when we talk about fallacies and deceptive statistics. The federal government covers 80% of construction and $2.5 million annual operating subsidy that generates $46 million in economic impact is worth a serious look. As governor, I'd approach this practically and make sure Wisconsin doesn't leave that federal money on the table. You hear what he just said? Here's the problem with that. You know how much it costs to get Amtrak rail service between here and Madison? And it's not high speed, which means you could probably take a bus or drive and get there faster than the train. The small costs, the little plan, the itty-bitty little plan, between $215 and $255 million.
Let that sink in. So let's take the small number, $215 million. Let's just wonder, what is 20%? Type it in my phone, my calculator, of $215 million. Well, that comes to about $43 million. So when you talk about $46 million in economic impact, what exactly are you talking about? You're talking about the ancillary stuff around it and the construction it's going to take to build it. But it's actually, at a minimum, going to cost you about $215 million. And the federal government's only paying 80%. That means Wisconsinites, with your tax money, are going to pay the additional $43. How much money did they say they'll give us? $2.5 million in operating subsidy. Really? That's all. And therein lies the rub. Wisconsinites are still paying for it. They're just going to put it in the other hand and pretend like somebody else gave it to them. This is the nonsense you have from people that are actually running for governor who really don't know what they're doing and why they're doing it. It's another dumb idea reused by Wisconsin lawmakers. And if you think your taxes are high now, they'd be even higher had Scott Walker not told them, I'm not picking up the tab. Because you know if they say $215 million, it's going to end up being closer to $715 million, almost close to $1 billion. And who would pick up the cost overruns? Have you ever seen a construction company, unless you gave them incentive to finish early to get paid more, finish on time? No. Like ever. Like never. You think they're going to be done by 2028 or 20, whenever they're supposed to be done with the I-94 and all that stuff? Yeah. Tell that lie if you want to.
Number 2.
From WISN12.com, we talked about it yesterday. Milwaukee police announced they have a person of interest in custody in connection with a home invasion and sexual assault earlier this month. The attack happened about 8:20 on April 19th near 50th and Burleigh. While police announced today they have a person in custody, they said their investigation remains ongoing. They described him as a man 20 to 30 years of age, slim build, last seen wearing a blue windbreaker-style jacket with a hood, stonewashed tone, designer jeans, and black tennis shoes. The armed suspect entered the victim's residence, sexually assaulted a victim, and demanded and stole property. One of the victims, an 81-year-old man, told WISN 12 News the intruder, a stranger, was inside the house he shares with a longtime girlfriend for roughly 15 minutes. And if you go to fox6now.com, they had a picture of the person who they believe actually did it, an up-close picture. And I'm pretty sure somebody picked up the phone, thank goodness, and made the call. Right now, Mequon and Madison, they got some explaining to do.
Number 1.
From the 620 WTMJ, our sister station, the Wisconsin Elections Commission reversed 2 ballots from the April 7th spring election. Commissioners ruled that 23 absentee ballots in Madison could not have been counted because they arrived in polling places after polls closed at 8 o'clock. Wisconsin Election Commission Chairwoman Ann Jacobs said in a special meeting yesterday, this is an absurd error, apparently committed by someone who was involved in Madison's previous absurd errors coming out of the November election. Meanwhile, City of Mequon commissioners found that 5 absentee ballots should have been counted, despite missing zip codes in the witness address field. Zip codes are not required in the address field. That's according to the commission, and the commission voted 5-1 of reversing the 2 decision. So, in one story, they talk about how great election commissions are and how great they're and how close they're doing, and they're working hard and they're making sure nobody messes up anything. And then the Wisconsin Election Commission comes in and says, hey, you're making these small mistakes. And those are the ones they found. Those are the ones they caught. Can you imagine? What do the ones that they don't know about look like?
One call, that's all.
Hey, Truth Nation, now's your chance to be our one call, that's all 5K giveaway entry for the day. Yes. You can be entered in to win $5,000 courtesy of Gruber Law Offices. Be caller number 6 right now at 833-212-1017, and you can be entered in to win $5,000 giveaway with the award-winning 1017 The Truth and Gruber Law Offices. Again, that's caller number 6 at 833-212-1017. That's the number. Remember, if you or your loved one has ever been injured in an accident, contact Gruber Law Offices today. Visit them at Gruber-Law. That's GRUBER-Law.com. For official contest rules, all you got to do is visit 1017thetruth.com. Caller number 6 at 833-212-1017. Pop Out Friday, fallacies up next.
I travel all around the world, Dr. Ken, and when I tell you, based on my experiences, this is like the number one country that cares. Like, everything is about money. Yep. Everything.
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
I've told people in the past, you have to be careful of what you complain about and what you use as a tool, because other people will take it and use it in the wrong way.
Sundays starting at 7 on 620 WTMJ and Mondays at 6 on 1017 The Truth.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. There's a sense of pride, community, and work ethic that's second to none. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. We've been here and will continue to be here for as long as you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
You're a hard worker. Provide for your family and help out in your community. You've been there for so many others. But when life challenges you, when rising costs, unexpected repairs, medical bills, or simply a rough stretch make it hard to keep up on a limited or low income, you're not alone. Your local Wisconsin energy and emergency assistance providers are here for you, working together to keep you safely in your home and your heat and power on. If you're struggling with high utility bills, facing a disconnect notice, or dealing with a furnace emergency and your limited or low income isn't enough, support is available. Visit www.heat.help or call 1-800-506-5596 to apply for a hand up.
It's Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. I want to say congratulations to Marquise. He's our qualifier, the first one of the quarter. Also want to say congratulations to Alan and his wife. They're the $5,000 winner this morning on 1017 The Truth in Gruber Law Offices. The one call, that's all 5K giveaway winner. Well, I'm on a roll. I may as well keep going. Tacos and Tequila Fest is back May 30th with performances by Shaggy, Rick Ross, Genuine, Soulja Boy, Frankie J, Mims, and much, much more. Now's your chance to win a pair of tickets to Tacos and Tequila Festival live at Franklin Field. That's Saturday, May 30th. Call the Truth Talk and Text line at 833-212-1017 is number. Caller number 5 to win those tickets. Caller number 5. That's 833-212-1017 to win tickets to Tacos and Tequila Festival live, Franklin Field, Saturday, May 30th. Caller number 5, 833-212-1017 is the number. I'm supposed to be talking about fallacies. But before I do, are you a critical thinker? 86% say yes and 14% say no. Interesting. Let's talk about fallacies. What exactly is a fallacy? Well, there are different kinds of fallacies. One thing I want you to remember, one of my favorite quotes from Aristotle, one of my absolute, positively, one of my favorite quotes from Aristotle says, "It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it." Think about that. Let me think about that. How many people you know say that? Well, let me think about that. Are they entertaining it, or they're just, pontificating and pandering and then later go, nah, I disagree. Well, there are 5 types of fallacies. I'm going to run through this. I got a couple of minutes. I got about less than 3 minutes. I want to run through just 5, and then we're going to dive into the 2 that are more meaningful. That, for me, that is inductive and questionable cause fallacies. Well, first, an inductive fallacy is an inductive generalization, a priorism. You base it on anecdotal evidence, what you already remember. It's got to be, even though it may not be right, you rely on it. Well, that's been my experience, right? Then there's a questionable cause fallacy, circular reasoning. You just kind of go round and round in a circle. A slippery slope. If you smoke marijuana, next thing you know, it's the gateway drug. Because that's what I always heard. A loaded question. Contradictory premises. You ask somebody one thing, but you're trying to get them to do something else. A false cause. Unqualified generalization. Reification. Something that's called hypostatization, and we'll get into that. Hypothesis contrary to fact. I believe this is going to happen. I don't have any information to support it. I don't have any information that'll tell you that it's going to come true, but this is my idea. I believe that this is going to happen. But we've already proven that it's not going to happen. Nope, I still believe it's going to happen. You've run into those people. And then the parade of horribles. Well, they kind of use the parade of horribles for, global warming, the environment. A lot of those arguments are a parade of horribles. If we don't stop driving, we're going to not breathe, and then we're going to have this, and we're going to have this, and it's going to cascade, it's going to have this, and the lakes are going to go down, and the water's going to disappear, and the air is going to go bad, and we're going to get missiles, and they just go on and on and on and on, and that's why. It's a questionable cause. Then there's formal fallacies. Affirming the consequence, denying the antecedent. That means that what caused it, pretend like that didn't happen. You see that shooting over there? That's domestic violence. Yeah, but the problem was it wasn't domestic violence. She shot him because he punched her, and she defended herself. Nope, we just going to go with what the end is. Converting a conditional, and then argument from a fallacy. In other words, you argue, and it's not making any logical sense. You just argue. And then number 4, informal relevance fallacies. 2 wrongs make a right. Well, you got this and you got this, so we may as well do that. No. Irrelevant conclusion, a straw man argument, false analogy, an ad hoc, you just made it up, non sequitur, doesn't make any sense. It's not in line with what you're arguing. An appeal to sympathy. Well, you should give me, you know where they use appeal to sympathy at all the time? Those online websites. Can you give to me because my child, you know how many money they've stolen from people? Yep, dog commercials. Israel, remember the one about the Association of Christians and Jews? They're poor people crying, and they put the old lady on TV with no teeth, and they're going. And you probably zoom back, they got lights over her, and she's an actress. And I'm all right. I don't know. That's appeal to sympathy. The little puppy dogs. The little kids. Now, some of the stuff is good, like Shriners Hospital and stuff like that. You see that early in the morning. My problem with it is the commercial's like 3 minutes long. I'm like, why am I watching this?
What about St. Jude's?
St. Jude, yep, St. Jude. Now, these are places that do phenomenal work, and they do excellent work. And I think you should support them. But sometimes it's a little over the top. And then just an argument from repetition, where you argue with some people and they just repeat themselves, as if that's going to make a difference. And then lastly, before we go to break, there's the informal verbal fallacy, the undistributed middle. You just kind of say your point, and then you make up all this other stuff in the middle that makes absolutely no sense, and it doesn't really connect. And then you come up with a conclusion, and you go, huh? I don't understand what you're saying. When we come back, I want to dive into inductive fallacies. I want to dive into it because I hear it most times. When we argue about stuff and when you ask someone about it, they have zero evidence. Or they have one little thing that happened and then they extrapolate into all this other bad stuff that's supposed to happen. And I'm like, how's that going to cause that? I listen to the police do it. If we don't, for instance, perfect one, food trucks downtown. Somebody help me remember that. Food trucks downtown. They made a decision downtown based on one little thing, and they thought this was going to happen and this was the cause, so then they made a decision. Made absolutely no sense. Probably one of the dumbest decisions the city council's ever made. But then again, it is a city council, so, they're kind of good with that. And now with the final traffic check of the day, let's see who she throws it to.
Good afternoon, John. We have delays along southbound 41, pretty much stretching from Good Hope Road all the way down to about Capitol Drive. The northbound side's backed up from about Mayfair Road up past Capitol Drive to Silver Spring. Southbound 43, a heavy ride. We do have a crash at Keefe, but then we got delays basically beyond that all the way down into the Marquette, with more backups once you get off the high-rise bridge down towards the KK River crossing. And on the northbound side, we got backups coming out of the Marquette all the way up to North Avenue. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, showers ending, partly cloudy with frost, a low of 35 at the lake, 29 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high of 50 at the lake, 58 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 101.7 The Truth.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Need a quick, delicious way to fuel your day? Try one of our new protein power plays from Cousin Subs. Power ham, power turkey, power club, power tuna. 4 craveable 5-inch subs on freshly baked Italian bread. Packed with protein, up to 33 grams. All for just $7.99 for a limited time. It's the flavor you love with the fuel you need. Grab a protein power play in store, online, or on the Cousin Subs app today. Cousin Subs, we believe in better.
Honest, direct, and always thought-provoking.
Even if the system don't make sense anymore. And that's the part we got to be honest about. Education is not a theory. It's not a title. It's not a category. It's a student, it's a teacher, it's a classroom, and there's learning. Everything, everybody else, including the superintendent herself, are secondary. Assistant superintendents, or whatever the heck you call them, deputy, chief of school, everybody, they are secondary if a child's not learning. The student is the number one thing there. So if we've reached the point where the only way to defend the system is to argue that keeping teachers out of a classroom is essential to education, then we're not just confused. We backwards. And when policy, practice, priorities, and money collide like that, there's only one word for all of this: nonsense.
Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, weekdays from 4 to 6, live on YouTube and broadcasting on 101.7 The Truth.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
This is Associated Bank Sports Update on 101.7 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Xavier Spencer. Your Milwaukee Brewers put on another show, defeating the Diamondbacks 13-1, with William Contreras contributing 4 of the crew's 14 hits. Brewers pitcher Brandon Woodruff left yesterday's start in the second inning due to a significant drop in velocity.
We've seen it where he came down, his velocity's down early, and then it climbs. We were waiting to see in the second inning if it climbed, but it was down as low as it's ever been. And we think maybe some rest can build back up.
Brewers are in Washington this weekend to face the Nationals. The Milwaukee Bucks finally named Taylor Jenkins their head coach. Jenkins will be introduced at a news conference Wednesday, May 6th at 2 p.m. at the Milwaukee Art Museum, which will be open to the public. The Green Bay Packers picked up edge rusher Lucas Van Ness' fifth-year option at a one-year fully guaranteed $14.5 million for the 2027 season. The Packers also have their rookie minicamp that will kick off today at Lambeau Field. I'm Xavier Spencer, and this is the True Sports Update on 101.7 The Truth.
More of Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. Let me congratulate Josh. He is the winner of a pair of tickets to Tacos and Tequila Festival live at Franklin Field Saturday, May 30th. He gets to see Shaggy and Rick Ross and Genuine and Soulja Boy and Frankie J and Mims and many more. So I want to say congratulations to him. In the YouTube chat, are you a critical thinker? We're at 88% of yes and 12% of no. Where'd it go? Kenwan said it's still been snowing off and on. Now, see, I thought I was crazy. Yeah, it was snowing today. I thought I was crazy when the thing hit my window this afternoon and it kind of rolled down. I said to myself, that looked like snow. But you know, your brain goes, dude, it's May. Well, that don't mean nothing in Wisconsin. So Babar said, just drive less. Y'all crazy. Oh, y'all are out of y'all minds. Babar said, never heard the word, had to Google the meaning. Fallacies? What did you have to Google? Wow. Okay. Wow. We call it a story. Growing up, you can call it a lie. You can call it a lot of things. Again, congratulations to Josh for winning the Taco and Tequila Fest tickets, and congratulations to qualifier Marquise, and congratulations to Alan for looting the bank today and taking his whole, $5,000. So I'm just saying. Inductive and questionable cause fallacies. Now, these are the two that make me go, okay, I get it. All right, so I might try to cover these. If you got any questions, 833-212-1017 on what we've been talking about today. This drives me up a wall. Black people in Milwaukee need to be critical thinkers. We need to think things through. We need to use our brains. We need to get an education. Our kids are smart. They're intuitive. They're creative. They can do all sorts of things. MPS, public school, private school, choice, charter, I don't care. Good education. That's what I'm talking about. But we need to understand, because Aristotle said it, it's the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Just because somebody tells you doesn't mean that. So, an inductive fallacy. It often involves an overlaying broad conclusion based on a relatively small sample. It's when suburban white people look at black people and see 4 or 5 different shootings in the course of a month, and they assume that all black people in Milwaukee, even though we're like 48% of the population, all black people in Milwaukee are criminals. Or they believe if one person gets shot, then they're going to get shot. Or you might think, I know 2 lawyers, and they're the most obnoxious people I ever met. Therefore, all lawyers are obnoxious people. Not necessarily true. It's also known as a hasty generalization, leaping to the conclusion. When the guy walked up to Kyle, or however they interacted, and wouldn't pump the gas and laid the handle on the ground, even though the county rule is that you can't pump your own gas, the county has to pump it for you. This person refused to pump gas for a black person, for, the black fella. Because he made the assumption, he made a broad conclusion about black people in Milwaukee based on a relatively small sample. And then he made a hasty generalization, leapt to a conclusion, and then did something stupid. But then there's anecdotal evidence, a fallacy that draws a conclusion from cases specifically chosen to support your argument. Well, look at that. That happened over there. Look at that. That happened over there. That happened over there. That happened over there. Therefore, this. But what about the other 9 things that happened? I'm going to pretend like those didn't happen. They ignore cases that might undermine their argument and conclusion. The same thing, and I always like to use global warming. People argue for it, and some of the parts of it are true. The problem is the conclusion that you make, we should be dead by now. Everything Al Gore said in An Inconvenient Truth did not come true. So now what? Well, we're just going to discard. We're going to, well, they did it. They discarded what was the proper conclusion. They threw out all the stuff. And so people will tell me, you sound silly talking about you're not for the environment. I never said I wasn't for the environment. You're doing exactly what they did. I said one thing, and therefore you assume I'm against the environment. I'm not. But if what you're saying and the evidence that you're giving me means that all these bad, catastrophic things are going to happen, and they haven't happened, what is that? You're ignoring cases that might tend to undermine the conclusion. You've heard criminals are never given the punishment they deserve. Just look at that guy who tried to kill that little girl. After a plea bargain, they practically got off scot-free. Well, that's not necessarily true. You're only using that example to make your conclusion because it fits. This black person got this, and that black person got that. Or these 2 black people did the same crime, but one guy got prosecuted and went to prison, and the other guy got prosecuted and got probation. Well, you got to look at their background. You have to look at that part that after you're sentenced, they have another hearing, and you get to present all the positive stuff about the person and all the things they've done in their life and all the, if they made mistakes, blah, 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 blah. And then the judge issues a ruling and a sentence. That stuff is the difference that makes the difference between whether or not somebody goes to prison. That's the way it's supposed to work. Now, anecdotally, it doesn't always work that way, in my experience. So when we come back, I want to talk about questionable, circular logic. Things that we hear that go around and around and around, and we hear it and we hear it and we hear it. And next thing you know, it's really not true, but, I heard it. It's kind of like if this, then that, and if that, then this, therefore this. And you go, huh? We'll also talk about slippery slope. How we became a victim of the crime bill in 97 because somebody argued in federal legislature, in Congress, about the slippery slope. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. You got any questions, you got complaints, you got something you want to pop off about on Friday, you can do it right here. 833-212-1017. You can hit us on the talk and text line or the YouTube chat at 101.7thetruth.com. When we come back, talk and text line and questionable cause fallacies. Up next.
This is Sherwin Hughes from The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. And Truth Nation, you can now watch my show live on YouTube every day from 9 a.m. until noon. Yep, you can get 3 full hours of watching Sherwin doing his thing streaming live on YouTube Monday through Friday. You'll get the same insightful conversations about policy, politics, and lifestyle while also seeing my reaction to the unpredictability of our listeners. So go to YouTube right now, subscribe to 1017 The Truth, and see this wonderful smile live every day.
You're a hard worker. Provide for your family and help out in your community. You've been there for so many others. But when life challenges you, when rising costs, unexpected repairs, medical bills, or simply a rough stretch make it hard to keep up on a limited or low income, you're not alone. Your local Wisconsin energy and emergency assistance providers are here for you, working together to keep you safely in your home and your heat and power on. If you're struggling with high utility bills, facing a disconnect notice, or dealing with a furnace emergency and your limited or low income isn't enough, support is available. Visit www.heat.help or call 1-800-506-5596 to apply for a hand up.
Are you planning a special event? Do you need a personal chef? Either way, make it tasteful. I'm Alicia the Chef, owner of Tasteful Events Catering, and we create customized food experiences for any occasion. We bring quality, flavor, and professionalism to every table. Whether it's a special event or everyday meal solutions, we focus on delivering more than just food. We create experiences. Book today or learn more online at www.tastefuleventscatering.com.
At UW Credit Union, our home loans have everything you need for your next big step, including up to $750 off closing costs for all home buyers. And first-time buyers can save even more. So if you're ready to trade roomies for more room, or your townhome for an out-of-town home, UW Credit Union will be with you from start to furnished. UW Credit Union. Apply online today. Equal housing lender. Credit may be limited as required by program. Visit uwcu.org for details.
After a crash with a semi-truck, everything can change instantly. At Gruber Law Offices, we have the knowledge and experience to make sure you're protected. And we're here to help whenever you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It's Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 46 minutes after the hour. You can walk around Dallas, and you can look over and you can see Erykah Badu shopping in the store like ain't nothing going on. That's what I'm talking about. If I was as big as her, I'd have like an entourage and security. People to hold my bag. No, I'm just kidding. 833-212-1017 is the number. Let me check this final. Are you a critical thinker? Yes or no? That's been our topic for the day. That's been something we've been talking about. We've been going over fallacies in the 5 o'clock hour. 88% say yes, they're a critical thinker. 12% say no. So, okay. All right. SC, I don't know if it's Josh from the chat. I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm still stuck on Ken Wan and it's been snowing. Yep. It's Wisconsin, so you got to put up with it. So we talked about inductive fallacies, but now I want to go through questionable cause. We talked about the circular reasoning, and we talked about all that earlier. It's a fallacy where premises include the claim that the conclusion is true or assumes that the conclusion is true. So it's an argument that basically says, well, global warming is true because they're like, wait, time out. Why don't you just tell me the argument and then say global warming is true? But you can't tell me in the beginning it's true, here's because, right? If such actions were not illegal, then they would be prohibited by the law. They would not be prohibited. What? If it wasn't right to smoke marijuana, then they wouldn't have a law telling you can't smoke marijuana. That makes no sense. Because you argue, one, it's prohibited by law, therefore it's illegal. It's illegal, therefore it's prohibited by law. What? Circular logic. It's kind of like begging the question. And then there's a slippery slope. The crime bill did us in. Crack cocaine, it did us in. It's a fallacy that asserts that one thing will plausibly lead to another, which will then lead to another. Well, look at it. If you smoke marijuana, this marijuana will take you to powder cocaine, and powder cocaine gonna take you to pills, and pills gonna take you to crack, and then crack is 100% addictive, and you never get off of it. Therefore, if you get caught with crack cocaine, you go to prison, and all them people went to prison. And then they forgot to tell you, oh, by the way, a lot of people, like where's all the crack babies? We're still waiting for all the crack babies to fill up. Did crack have a negative effect on the community? Yes, it did. I'm not saying crack babies don't exist. I'm saying based on their slippery slope argument, the black community, which was decimated by crack, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't, and Sherwin talked about it the other day. It wasn't like people was walking around, as we call it growing up, snag-a-tooth, no teeth missing, and harassing people and begging and turning tricks on the street in the afternoon. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like The Walking Dead. But they sold us that. We got to do it. We got to stop. And a lot of our black leaders, our black clergy, our black politicians fed into that. And they passed that bill, and it decimated our homes. And one of the reasons why we have so many single-family homes and so many fathers that are missing that went to jail for something they probably should have gotten, well, not probably, they should have got a ticket for. Or, in some cases, it's legal in many states, at least 35 of them. They're sitting in prison. It's a slippery slope argument like they do for the Second Amendment. The government shouldn't ban assault weapons. Once they do, it'll soon be illegal to own any kind of firearm. No, not true. If it's bad, you ban it. That doesn't mean everybody gonna lose their guns. It just means that gun you shouldn't use. Like, I don't understand why that's a problem. But, some people are purists. They're only purists because it's them. So it's sort of like the boiling frog. You've heard that saying where if you put a frog in a skillet or a pan of water, and you turn up the water slowly, then they'll boil to death. That is the biggest lie and fallacy known to man. That's a slippery slope fallacy. It's an allegory. It's a story people tell. Well, it's like when you put the frog and you put them in a pan, and if you turn up the water, if you turn up the heat slowly, they'll boil to death. No, they won't. That's never been true, like ever. But I've heard people retell stuff, and I just hear them, and I just go, okay. Sometimes it's just not worth the argument. It's a fallacy. But because it's been repeated so many times, we'll hear it. In my top 5 at 5, going back to the Talking Text line and the YouTube chat, when I talked about, Julie said, are they going to make it free like the streetcar too? They're not making a train. Amtrak is a government entity. They are not going to make it free to go from Milwaukee to Madison. Actually, I don't think enough people go. Todd said, hi, Dr. Ken. All those political promises are aimed at the non-critical thinkers, which is the majority of all people. Todd, that is a mean thing to say, and that is not true. You yourself are arguing a fallacy. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe you said that. Can't believe you said that. Well, it's been great being here with you guys. It's You know, it's kind of cool hanging out on a Friday. It bet not snow. If it snows, I'm telling you, I'll just have to put up with it because it snows. So I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being in the YouTube chat. Thank you on the Talk and Text line. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. And we'll have more next week. God willing, in about 72 hours. 72. In 70 hours, we'll be back for the best in Milwaukee Black Talk right here from the American Family Insurance Studio. Truth in the Afternoon. Thank you. Zach, appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Don't do too much now. You know, it's supposed to rain and snow and do all kind of nonsense this weekend. Guess what I have to do? It's graduation weekend. I got to dress up. I might put some pictures on social media, let y'all see me in my robe. Hey, y'all. God bless. Take care. Be safe. I'm out.
Be quiet.
Chicken head.